August up in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And we fight what are called war points. So there'll be different scenarios. Everybody allies on one side. Some of the bigger battles will be 2,000 on 2,000. And they'll fight to win that war point. Some of it is just open field, last team with a person standing wins. Some of it is capture the flag, things like that.
And that's sort of what they're preparing for.
That's what they're preparing for. What they'll do is you run each battle up there 3 times. Whoever wins 2 out of 3 wins a war point. At the end of the week, the side with the most war points wins the war.
Wow.
So what they're doing is taking those scenarios and scaling them down to the number of fighters that are here so they can practice the exact scenarios that they'll be fighting at Penzik.
Wow. Which is coming up the end of the month,
Which is coming up the end of July. Last week of July, first week of August. This is armored combat. It's 12-gauge steel helmets. It's leather, steel, aluminum, stainless steel, plastic, body protective gear.
Okay.
Rattan swords.
So that's what we're looking at. Mark, obviously.
Can only certain people fight? Like, or do they have to be a certain?
You have to be 18 years old.
Oh, okay. But I mean, in the community, like only certain people.
Anyone that wants to give it a try.
So there's not certain people that are warriors or not.
No,
I see.
Anyone can do anything they want. We don't say you've got to be a man to fight and only women can sew.
Okay.
Some of the best calligraphers and tailors and embroiderers I know are guys.
Yeah.
Some of the most dangerous fighters out on the field are some of the women.
That's awesome.
We don't care about anything other than you need to be 18. There are some youth programs, but we can't put a 15-year-old out there against a 30-year-old.
No, yeah.
So you need to be 18 for this, and we're all friends. It's out here to have fun and enjoy this. Don't be a jackass.
Yeah.
You know.
And tell me the name of the organization.
Society for Creative Anachronism, the SCA for short.
Okay. And today is the 5th of July, 2014.
July 2014 at King's Assessment. And what it is the King will be leading us at Penzik War in a month, so this is an assessment of his army.
Wow.
But instead of steel blades, they're using these, which are 1.25 inch minimum diameter rattan. Rattan is basically solid bamboo.
Wow.
If you use pine or oak or something like that, when it breaks, it goes flying. This stuff just mushes and gets soft, kind of like a wicker broom. The tape is to keep splinters from coming out when it gets soft, and to also mark the flats of it if it were a blade and the actual sharp edges. A blow has to land with the sharp edge in order to be considered good. There are safety requirements on targeting and all of that. And there are no judges or referees. The fighters fight until one of them receives a blow that, if it were an actual steel sword, would kill them. Hey, Sir Bryce, how are you doing? It's good to see you. Thank you for coming. Thank you. I grabbed somebody's sword for a quick demo. So. Patrick, I have your sword when you need it.
He needs it in a minute, so.
All right.
You can grab one on mine.
Absolutely. There are different fighting styles. The shields and all are form we call sword and shield. It's the basic predominant style. You'll have spears, two-handed swords, axes, maces, pole arms, things like that. Then there are also some add-ins, combat archery, specially regulated bows.
Just an example.
Yeah. So this is a two-handed axe.
Because I'm not going to be using it.
You're not taking that out there?
Not for a field battle.
That's so cool.
And you'll notice it's got a butt spike on it, so I can fight it here, and if I'm behind a shieldman, I can reach all the way over and hit the opponent over there. Or if he comes in on me, I can block a sword and then pop him with that, or I can pop his shield and transition around. I can reach out with this, hook the shield and pull it open, so my partner spearman over there has a shot at him, things like that.
And this is all based on the way they really would have fought at that time.
Yes, yes. As close as we can within safety rules and regulations. We like to use the phrase, we want to kill our friends, we don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
You know, we want to defeat them but at the end of the day, we're all friends, and we want to get them back up, and we want to reset and play again and play over and over and over. So everything defaults to safety whenever possible.
Gotcha.
And that is Her Majesty the Queen. Your Majesty.
That's great.
Yes, that is Her Majesty Kara. And Alessandro is her rapier champion.
Wow.
So this is what we call armored combat, chivalric combat. The king is the gentleman in purple right there, facing towards us. Yes, that is His Majesty William, King of Atlantia.
Y'all don't even worry about it. That's my job. Stay off my turf.
So any questions? I
This is
can
just
go
amazing.
for hours, so
this is
sometimes it's
amazing.
better if you ask questions.
This is just very. So did she like have to work her way up to be queen?
So does this work? You work as teams or as individuals?
For this, we'll be working as teams.
Okay.
They're doing team-on-team fighting. And you'll notice guys in matching colors or matching heraldry. Those tend to be knights and their households, or men-at-arms, or groups that fight together on a regular basis. So you're always going to be more effective as a team if you fight with the people that you practice with all the time. That's why organized basketball teams are better than scratch pickup teams.
Right. Yeah.
And tell me once more what this battle they're doing now is actually called.
Well, what they're running now is a practice for the Penzic Field Battle. Field Battle is literally a big open field. It'll be last person standing, no resurrection. So they're going to charge each other. They're going to swing. They're going to throw blows. When the fighters get hit with a blow that if it were a real sword, it would make them incapable of continuing to fight, they will call themselves dead, and they will come off the field. The last team out there with a fighter alive wins. They'll get up, they'll reset it. With this number of fighters in this size field, this will go quick. And that'll you're talking maybe 3 minutes.
So are
They'll
there
reset and do it again and again, and then they'll move on to other scenarios.
right? Are there referees, or is it all self-policing by the individual?
Some of both. The most important trait out there is honor and chivalry. You are on your honor to call yourself out or legged or armed or whatever. We have safety officers. We call them marshals. They're the gentleman right here, Carlisle, with the striped staff. He's serving as a marshal. Sir Turon in the red
What's Sir
walking up.
Turon doing?
He's actually the marshal in charge running this scenario.
Got you. Okay. So they all have to listen to him.
They have a couple, yes. The marshals run the fighting. The fighting starts when the marshals call lay on.
Okay.
The safety word is hold. Anytime you hear the word hold, everybody freezes instantly, because it could be anything from your shoelaces come untied to there's a kid running out on the field.
Wow.
Anybody who sees anything they think is unsafe calls hold to stop the fighting, and then the fighters will fix whatever the problem is, reset to the positions they were when it was called, and start over at the call of lay on.
Wow.
The marshals are there basically to ensure rules are followed and everything occurs safely. They're not there to say, you got hit in the head, you're dead, get out. Although a lot of times fighters will go, hey Marshal, I felt something on my leg. Did you see it? And the marshal will go, yeah, I saw it, and it looked like he hit you with the edge, you know, the duct tape edge. But he's not going to say, yes, you lost your leg. There's a certain amount of force you have to be hit with, and only the person getting hit can determine if it was hard enough.
Wow. So they're getting ready to battle each other,
They're getting ready to battle, yeah, by all means watch.
So we're going to see it right
You're about
Wow.
to see it.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lay on!
Lay on's the command to start. So they had a plan. They split their two groups up. They're going to move in and probably try to flank. Crossbow bolt went flying. Yeah, fighter's calling himself dead. The spearman's calling himself dead from the arrow to the face.
Hold!
Okay.
Hold! This entire unit goes that way 3 steps.
So what you had was Taron felt for safety. They were pushing too close this way.
Gotcha.
So he called a hold to stop that small group that was fighting right there, what we call a local hold.
Right.
The other guys, because they weren't involved in it, they kept fighting until a couple other guys fell down, and then they called a general hold to stop all the fighting.
And everybody freezes in place.
Everybody freezes in place, relaxes a little bit, maybe takes a step. Anyone who's quote-unquote dead gets up and gets out. Everybody gets back to where they were when hold was called and starts fighting again. Yeah. Being down on the ground is not necessarily cause a hold. It's when you're on the ground and people are tripping and falling over you. That we don't want broken ankles. And you'll see how they don't necessarily leave the field, they just fall back a little bit when you're out.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? Nicely done, Jeremy. Hit him.
And that's called a shield check.
All right, hold. Hold. Hold, hold, hold. Good battle, guys. Good battle. Good battle. The only one left standing is you. Everybody else been late. You just tripped? Hey, everyone left standing with him. Everybody else is down. Good job, everybody.
And the decor on the outside of the shields means something to each person,
It's
right?
unit, it's heraldry.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes it's what they used in the Middle Ages to identify units and people and tell
Okay.
your opponents who you were. A lot of times you needed to know the enemy side's heraldry because I don't necessarily want to kill a knight. I want to capture him if I can and then contact his family and have them pay ransom for it.
Yeah.
So I have to know what his heraldry is, or I can go, yeah, that guy, he's just a man-at-arms. There's probably nobody's going to pay ransom.
Right.
I'm not going to capture him and then be responsible for feeding and protecting and clothing
Absolutely.
and all that.
Yeah.
He's just an enemy.
Gotcha.
But the knights, maybe I want to capture them and ransom them out. The heraldry also allows your own teammate and your commanders to look at it and go, who are those guys? Okay, that's my reserve unit. Yes, send them in now. And it allows, when you get 2,000 people on a side out here, the commanders are standing where we are and over by that tree line.
Wow.
And they're sending runners to different units to say, they're punching through over there, take House Hedgehog and reinforce there. Take Barony of Sacred Stone and punch through and exploit a gap right there. It's actual tactical command in battlefield situation.
Wow.
It's one of the things I enjoy about the game.
Yeah.
So some of it is personal heraldry of the person. Some of the guys are fighting in unit levies. So they'll have that group's heraldry on it, maybe not their personal. A lot of times a knight will have his heraldry and his squires and men-at-arms will have a simplified version or a spin-off of the knight's heraldry.
By myself, I have engaged this entire unit. It is not 4-on-1 at that point. I will do so.